Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the granny spike stitch. This is a really fun alternative to granny stripes. It consists of 3 double crochet clusters. The only difference is we're going to work one of our stitches down in the row below instead of just in that chain space. If you're not familiar with how to work these stitches, I will have links down in the description below for video tutorials on how to do those. Otherwise, let's get started. Okay, for row 1, we need a multiple of 4 plus 1. So you're just going to continue to chain a multiple of 4 until you get to the width that you want, and then you're going to add 1. We're going to start 5th chain from that hook, never counting that loop on our hook. So count down to the 5th chain, and we're going to work our first of 3 double crochets in this stitch. So here's 1. Here's 2. And here's 3. Now chain 1, and we're going to skip 3 chains. Now typically when you're doing a granny crochet, you only skip 2. We're going to skip 3, and working that 4th chain, we're going to do another granny cluster. So here's our first double crochet. Working in that same space, our second double crochet, and in the same space, our third double crochet. Again, we need to chain 1, skip 3 chains, and working in that 4th chain, another granny crochet cluster. And we're just going to continue to repeat this all the way across the row. When you get to the end of your row, I'll meet up with you and then I'll show you how to finish this row off. Okay, when you get to the end of your row, you should have 4 chains left, and in that last chain, we're going to work 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So here's our first one, here's our second one. Okay, sorry you missed it, but I chained 2, and now I'm turning. Now we're going to start with row 2. Row 2 is probably going to be the hardest row out of this whole entire thing because you don't really have anything to hold on to, and we need to work into those chains in the row below. But if you can get past this row, it is smooth sailing from here on out. So we're going to work in that chain 1 space. I'm going to do 3 double crochets. Here's my first one. Now for my second one, I need to work into that second chain space from the row below. So the middle chain space from the row below with a single crochet. So I'm yarning over, I inserted my hook into that chain space, yarning over and pulling up a loop, and I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to make sure that I have lots to work with there before I finish off that double crochet, and also it'll help prevent it from buckling. So I need to get 1 more double crochet into that chain 1 space from my current row, finish that off, chain 1, and then move to my next chain 1 space, and we're just going to continue to repeat this process across the row. All right, so let's show you one more time. So double crochet in that chain 1 space, and then a double crochet into that second chain space, the middle chain space from the row below. So I will yarn over, insert my hook into that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and I'm going to pull that way up so it's nice and even. And then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's my double crochet. So I need 1 more double crochet into that chain 1 space for my current row. And that's it. It does take a little bit of practice and a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Okay, so I just need to chain 1, and then I'm going to work a double crochet into that chain 4 from the row below. Make sure you're working into the top of that chain 4, folks, and not into the double crochet next to it or around it. It will help keep your sides nice and straight if you work into the top of it. So after I have worked into that chain 4, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Okay, working row 3 is much the same as working row 2, except for here on out it gets a little bit easier. So we're going to immediately start working into that chain 1 space at the end of our row. So here is our first double crochet, and then working into the second double crochet, the one right there in the middle, from the row below, we're going to work our double crochet in to that stitch. So this is just like we had just done on the previous row. So make sure that when you're yarning over and pulling up, you're really pulling up and getting that nice and even with your first double crochet there so that it won't buckle as much. Work your third double crochet into that chain one space of your current row, chain one, and then move on to the next chain one space. At this point, you're just going to continue to repeat rows 2 and 3 until you get to the length that you want, and then you're good to go. To finish out row 3, you're going to work a double crochet into the top of that last double crochet and also a double crochet into the top of that turning chain. Now, typically this is where I would show you how to change color. I lost the footage when I did the sample. So if you don't know how to change color on a double crochet, just follow the link down in the description below on how to do a double crochet and it'll show you exactly how to do that. All right, that's all there is for me today, folks. If you missed anything, feel free to go back and rewatch. I will have a link down in the description below for written instructions on the granny spike stitch, as well as links to any patterns featuring this stitch in the Ruby Gray shop. Thanks so much for stopping by. Love your face.